You know that feeling when you're talking with someone in Japanese, maybe a new friend, and things just click, and you sense this shift, like you're moving past the super polite textbook stuff.
Yeah, exactly. People start talking more like, well, like themselves.
Right. More freely. And you feel like there's this whole other layer of conversation happening, vibrant and kind of hidden just below the surface.
That's it, that hidden layer. It's that authentic rhythm.
Yeah. And you just want to unlock it to really connect.
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. Think of this as your essential guide to understanding and, eventually navigating that whole world of informal Japanese.
Okay.
We're really going into the heart of everyday communication here, pulling out the key ideas you need. The mission, really, is to give you not just the grammar.
Right, not just rules.
No, but the cultural nuances, the feel of it, and importantly, the confidence to actually use it, to really connect on a deeper level.
So you can have those casual chats, share thoughts spontaneously.
Exactly. Feel more at ease in social settings. That's the goal.
So what can you expect from this deep dive?
Well, we're going to unpack the building blocks, the real essentials.
Starting with how verbs and adjectives change.
Yeah.
Into those casual forms, the short forms.
Yep, the short forms. And then we'll get into expressing what you think or what someone said. Super useful stuff.
And asking someone not to do something politely. That sounds useful too.
Oh, definitely. The negative requests. And even how to turn, whole sentences into nouns. Nominalization.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
It is. Expect, really thorough explanations, lots of practical examples, stuff you'd actually hear.
Real-world usage.
Yeah. And we'll look at why these forms are so important, why they help you sound more natural, and build those connections.
So by the end, you'll feel closer to that authentic rhythm of Japanese conversation.
That's the plan. Ready to jump in.
Let's do it. Okay, so informal Japanese. The foundation, you said, is these short forms.
That's right. They are the absolute backbone of casual, everyday talk.
The kind of language you use with people you're close to. Family, friends.
Exactly. Or people who are, kind of on the same level as you, or maybe junior to you, colleagues of the same rank, friends your age.
It makes sense. You wouldn't talk to your boss the same way you talk to your best friend, right?
Precisely. Japanese just has a more structured way of marking that difference. And short forms are key to the informal side.
So where do we start? Positive present tense.
Yeah. Let's start there. It's often the simplest. For most verbs, the informal positive present or future tense is just its dictionary form.
The basic form, like the one you look up.
Exactly. No changes. It's really direct. So if you're talking casually about eating, now or later, you just use tabaru.
Not tabemasu?
Nope, just tabaru. Or if you want to say, I read comic books to a friend, just manga wo yomu.
Yomu, not yomimasu.
Right. Same for iku, for to go.
Domo?
For to drink. Hanasu, for to speak. It's clean.
It definitely makes things quicker, less politeness stuff tacked on.
Yeah, it strips it down to the core message. Very efficient for casual chat.
Okay, so verbs are just the dictionary form. What about I adjectives, like tanoshi, fun?
Even easier. For I adjectives, the informal positive form is just the adjective itself. No desu.
Seriously, just the adjective.
Yep, so tanoshi stays tanoshi. If you thought a movie was fun talking to a friend, you might just say, ano ega wa tanoshi.
Or if something's cute, just kawaii.
Exactly. No need for eat for work with your friends. Same for takai, expensive stays. Takei, isogashi, busy stays, isogashi. Just the pure adjective.
Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Verbs and I adjectives seem simple enough. What about na adjectives and nouns?
Right. These work a bit differently, but follow a pattern. The base rule for their informal positive form is you add da to the end.
Da. So that's like the informal version of desu for these.
You can think of it that way, yeah. Grammatically, you'd say Genki da for healthy or energetic, or Nihonjin da if you're stating someone's nationality informally.
Okay, so shizuka, quiet, becomes shizuka da. Isha, doctor, becomes isha da.
Correct. Ishida. That da makes it a complete statement informally, especially in writing.
Ah, but you said especially in writing. Does that mean?
Yes. Here's the really crucial conversational bit. In spoken, informal conversation, that da is very, very often dropped.
Oh, really? Just left out.
Yeah, makes it shorter, more fluid. You'll constantly hear people ask, Genki. Just rising intonation, meaning, are you well? Or nienchunjin?
Wow. So you could just say to a friend, Yasi, just say to a friend, "Ano cafe wo kirei," that cafe is pretty without the da.
Absolutely. If the context is casual and clear, it's super flexible in speaking. Dropping the da is a real sign of natural, unforced chat.
But you need to be careful, right? You mentioned writing.
Exactly. In written informal stuff, texts, notes, casual emails, you generally keep the da for clarity. It's a subtle but important difference.
Okay, spoken da, often dropped. Written da, usually kept. Got it.
And it helps to remember that na adjectives are sometimes described as basically nouns that can act like adjectives.
Ah, okay. That makes sense why they pattern together.
Mhm.
Like gakuse, student becomes gakuse da, and kire becomes kiri da.
Exactly. They share that core grammar, helps simplify things.
All right, so that covers the positive short forms. What about the negatives? Saying not.
Right. Negatives. For verbs, the common informal negative ending is sen nai. This is your casual equivalent of nezen.
Okay, nai. So how do we make that?
It depends on the verb group. Let's start with godon verbs, or group 1. These are the majority. There's a specific sound change.
Okay.
You take the dictionary form, look at the final O sound syllable,
Right.
and change that U sound to the corresponding O sound on the same row of the hiragana chart. Then you just add nai. Okay, U sound to A sound, then add nai. Can we break that down? Sure. If the verb ends in U, like utao, to sing, the U changes to wa, so it becomes ina utowane, utokowa. Okay. If it ends in ku, like utoku, to write, ku becomes ka, so kutoga, kutoka, got it. Gu endings like oyonasu, to swim, become ga, so utogare, utoga. Makes sense. Su's endings like huhanasu, to speak, change to sa. Hanasan, sutosa. Two endings like mansu, to wait, change to ta. Manai, tututa. New endings are rare, but shinu, to die, becomes na, shinai. That's actually a fun fact. Shinu is the only modern verb ending in nu that does this. Huh, interesting. Okay, nu to na. Mu endings like nomu, to drink, change to ba. Manobane, wutuba. Mu endings like nomu, to drink, change to ma.
Mutuma.
And finally, Goden verbs ending in ru, like kiru, to return, change to ra, kiranai.
Okay, ru to ra for goden ru verbs. That's quite a list, but it's a consistent pattern.
It is. Once you practice it a bit, it starts to feel quite natural.
So that's godan, group 1. What about ichidan group 2 verbs, those iru, iru ending ones? You said they were simpler.
Yeah, thankfully. For ichidan verbs, making the negative informal is much easier. You just chop off the final ru and add nai.
Just drop the ru and add nai.
That's it. So miru, to see, becomes wuchiminie. Okiru, to wake up, becomes ukinai. Uchuru, to eat, becomes ori tabenai.
Ah, much cleaner. Okay.
It is. Just a quick tip, though. There are a few verbs that look like ichidan, ending in iru or iru, but are actually sneaky godan verbs.
So exceptions, like what?
Like huaru, to enter. It looks ichidan, but it's godan. So its negative is haranai, following the ru to ra rule, not hiran.
Ah, okay. Good to know.
And hashiru, to run, is another common one. It becomes hashiranai. You'll pick these up with exposure. Don't worry too much now.
Fair enough. So, godan, ichidan. That leaves the irregulars, right? Always irregulars.
Yep. And for negatives, the two big ones are super important because they're used constantly. Ukuru, okuru, to come, and suro, to do.
Okay, what do they become?
Kuru becomes kunai, not come. Notice the reading change from ku to ko.
Ukai. Right.
And suru becomes shinai, not do.
Shinai. Okay, konai and shinai. Those seem essential.
They absolutely are. You'll hear and use them all the time, so they'll stick pretty quickly, even though they're irregular.
Great. What about negative adjectives? How do we make I adjectives negative informally?
Also quite logical and consistent. You take the I adjective, replace the final I sound with ku, and then add nai.
Replace I with ku, add nai.
Like tanoshikunai becomes santanoshikunai, not fun. Kawaii, cute, becomes kawaikunai, not cute.
Okay. And what about I? Good. That one's always a bit tricky.
Right. E is irregular. Its negative informal form is yokunai, not good. It uses the yo stem.
Yokunai. Got it. So kunai for I adjectives.
Exactly.
And for na adjectives and nouns. Please tell me it's simple.
It is delightfully simple. For both na adjectives and nouns, you just add yanai to the end for the informal negative.
Janai. That's it.
That's it. So kirei, beautiful, clean, becomes kirei yanai.
If someone asks Genki and you're not feeling great,
You can say yongin kijenai.
and Nihonjin, Japanese person.
Becomes a nyanjin janai, not Japanese. Same rule applies to both types. Easy peasy.
Okay, that is refreshingly simple. So we have the forms down. Now let's dive into the using them part, the nuances.
Exactly. Knowing when and how to use informal speech is just as important as knowing the forms themselves. It's about social context.
So remind us, where is it typically okay?
Primarily among family members, parents, siblings, kids. Also among equals, friends of a similar age, colleagues at the same level.
Classmates?
Yeah, classmates too. And with very close friends, even if there's maybe a small age gap, that closeness often allows for casual speech. It's a sign of intimacy.
What about speaking to, say, younger people?
Definitely. Adults almost always use informal speech with children. And in a work context, maybe a manager to a junior employee, if the relationship is friendly and established, though that can depend on the workplace culture.
You know, I once had this experience. I was out for drinks with some older Japanese guys.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they were older and I was, a foreigner, pretty quickly they switched to informal Japanese with me, especially after a beer or two.
Ah, that's a perfect example. A relaxed atmosphere, that shared experience, can definitely loosen the usual rules. It suggests they felt comfortable, wanted to create a more relaxed connection.
Yeah, it felt like they were kind of inviting me into a more genuine space.
Exactly. Context matters hugely. And speaking of genuine, natural flow, here's something really key and often tricky for learners. Particle dropping.
Ah, yes, particles just vanishing.
Very often, yeah. In informal chat, many particles get omitted to make speech faster and smoother. It's a huge marker of sounding native.
Which ones tend to go? Is it random?
Not random, but common ones include wo, the direct object marker. Instead of aisukurimu tabaru, you'll hear aisukurimu o tabaru. You'll hear isu tabaru.
Right, Dwight just disappears.
Yep. Also, the topic marker often gets dropped if the topic is obvious from context. And sometimes the subject marker if the subject is clear.
So how do you know when it's okay? Do you just guess?
Haha. Not quite guessing. The main rule is clarity. If dropping the particle makes the meaning ambiguous, keep it. For example, the ni particle for direction, like gwin ni iku, going to the park, is usually kept. Without it, it might be unclear where you're going.
Okay, so if the meaning is still obvious, it might get dropped.
Pretty much. Especially for direct objects or topics already being discussed, it's all about efficiency and that natural conversational rhythm. It shows you and the listener are on the same wavelength.
Makes sense. And asking questions informally. You don't use ka at the end?
Nope. Forget the ka.
Oh.
In informal speech, you signal a question mainly with rising intonation at the end of the short form sentence.
Just like in English, really.
Kind of, yeah. So, abru, with that upward inflection means, will you eat? Or kuyu hima means, are you free today?
Simple enough. What about writing? Like in a text message?
Then you just use a question mark.
Got it. Now, you mentioned the da for nouns and adjectives often gets dropped in speech. Any exceptions there?
Yes, one important one. Remember how da is often dropped? Well, it must be put back in if the noun or adjective is followed immediately by certain sentence-ending particles like yo for emphasis or n for seeking agreement.
Ah, okay. So you can't just say kiryo.
No, that's incorrect. You have to say uie da yo. It's beautiful, The da is required before the you.
And with ne.
Same thing. Easy done. You're a student, aren't you?
Yeah.
You need the da. It's a specific grammatical rule, even within informal speech.
Okay, da comes back before you and ne. Good rule to remember in really basic stuff, informal, yes and no.
Yeah. Instead of the formal hey and I,
Yeah.
you use one for yes and for no. Make sure you get the sounds right. Wen is short, un is longer with a slight falling tone for no.
Wen and una. Okay, heard those a lot.
You will. They're standard among friends and family.
Now, something that always struck me as a bit counterintuitive, maybe? Invitations in Japanese.
Ah, yes. Using the negative form.
Exactly, like jadi baikane senka. Why don't you go? it sounds almost hesitant in English.
It does, but in Japanese, it's actually very common and considered polite. It's not passive-aggressive or reluctant at all.
So why do it that way?
It comes down to consideration for the other person, omoyari. By phrasing it negatively, you're subtly giving the person you're inviting an easy way out. It reduces pressure on them to say yes.
Ah, so it's about making it easier for them to decline if they want to.
Precisely. It's less direct, less imposing. If someone invites you, won't you eat together? It's a warm invitation, but framed softly.
That's fascinating. It really highlights a cultural difference in communication style compared to, say, a very direct English invitation.
It really does. It's a great example of how grammar and culture are intertwined. Understanding that makes the language make so much more sense.
Definitely a cultural aha moment.
And one last point on using informal Japanese, especially for you as a learner. There's often what you might call a foreigner pass.
Meaning?
Meaning that most native speakers are really understanding if you use informal Japanese, maybe even in a situation where it's technically not quite appropriate according to strict hierarchy rules.
Oh, that's reassuring.
It is. People generally appreciate the effort you're making to connect and speak naturally. They understand politeness levels are complex, so don't let the fear of making a mistake hold you back too much.
Right. Better to try and connect, even if it's not perfect, than to be too scared to speak casually at all.
Exactly. That effort is often valued more than perfect grammar, especially when you're learning. It shows warmth and willingness to engage.
Okay, great perspective. Now let's move on to expressing opinions. How do we say, I think, in Japanese?
Right, expressing your own thoughts or beliefs. The key structure is sonchaten an to omoimasu.
To omimasu.
Yeah. You take a complete sentence in its informal short form.
Verb, adjective, noun with da.
Correct. Then you add the particle to and follow it with omoimasu, which is the formal verb for to think. Or you can use the informal version, omu. Okay, informal sentence plus to plus omoimasu or omo. Can you give an example? Sure. I think Mary is good at Japanese. You'd take the informal phrase, Mary is good at Japanese, which is fa do yo. Mary-san wa nihongo ga juzu da, using the adjective juzu with da. Right, juza. Then add to omomasu. So that structure seems clear, but you highlighted juzu da. Is there a rule there? Yes, a very important one we touched on earlier with da. When you use a noun or a adjective right before mir, you must include the shakata always, even if you might drop it elsewhere in speech. Always in this specific structure. So I think they are 20 years old. 20 years old is hatachi, a noun. You must say hatachi to omoimasu.
Not hatachi to omoimasu.
Correct. That's grammatically wrong. Same for na adjectives. I think it's beautiful. Must be omoimasu, not kirei to omoimasu.
Okay, that's a crucial detail. Nouns and na adjectives need da before to omoimasu.
Exactly. It's a firm rule for this pattern.
Now, is to omoimasu always about expressing genuine uncertainty or opinion? I feel like I've heard it used in ways that sound different.
You probably have. This is a fascinating point about nuance. While it does mean I think, anji is also frequently used just to make a statement softer, more polite, or less assertive.
Even if the speaker is actually pretty sure.
Yes, even then. It's a politeness strategy. There's a story about a kindergarten principal who got annoyed when people said things like, shite to omimasu, literally, I think I want to do, when they clearly intended to do it as part of a plan.
Why did it annoy him?
Because to him, it sounded evasive, like they weren't fully committing, even though they were just trying to be polite by softening the statement. It wasn't about genuine thought, but about social impatience.
Huh. That really shows how language carries more than just literal meaning.
It does. So you'll hear people use to omoimasu to state intentions or facts more gently. In a meeting, instead of a blunt dekimasu, I can do it, someone might say tekiru to omoimasu to sound less boastful or overly confident, even if they're sure they can do it.
So it adds a layer of humility or indirectness.
Exactly. Or when disagreeing politely, I think that's different, wrong, is much softer than just, it's a key tool for maintaining harmony.
That's really useful context. So let's see some more examples in action. How would it look with different informal forms?
Okay. Using an informal negative verb, Dekinai to umoimasu. I don't think he can do it.
Dekinai, the negative short form.
Right, with a negative I adjective. Stivslologic numbing for this. Takakunai to omoimasu. I don't think it's expensive. Takakunai. Okay. Positive verb. Yoku kamono. Suru to omoimasu. I think they often go shopping.
Yeah.
Using the informal suru,
Yeah.
applying the na adjective rule. Yama ga kirei da to omoimasu. I think the mountain is beautiful. Remember the da?
Kirei-da. Yeah.
And another negative I adjective.
Salua.
Wasabi wa karakunai to omoimasu. I don't think wasabi is spicy.
You can really express a lot of different thoughts this way.
Absolutely. It's a fundamental pattern for sharing your perspective.
Okay, so that's, I think. What about reporting what other people said? Like he said, or she mentioned.
Very similar structure, actually. This is for relaying conversations or information you've heard.
How does it work?
Again, you start with the informal sentence, what the person actually said, or the content of it. Then you add to, followed by a form of the verb you to say. The specific form you use is important, though.
Okay. What form do we use?
For directly recounting something you personally heard someone say, the most common and appropriate form is to ite imashita.
Itimashita. That's the past continuous form.
Yes, the formal past continuous of you. Or, in casual conversation, you'll very often hear the informal version. They ite out. Notice the to often becomes ite informally.
Okay, so to itimashita or tiitata for things you heard directly. Why the continuous form?
It kind of emphasizes that the speaking action happened and you witnessed it or heard it directly. It distinguishes it from just quoting something generally known.
So how is it different from just using, say, yik, Imashita said?
Good question. Hei to imashita, or the plain form to you, is used more for quoting things you read, like in book, or things you heard secondhand, you weren't there, or general quotes, like from famous people or proverbs.
Ah, I see. So imashita is more like reporting information, while itemashita is more like recounting a specific utterance you heard.
That's a great way to put it. Itimashita or tiiteta strongly implies personal hearing. It's the I heard it myself version.
Okay, that distinction is really helpful. Let's see some examples, maybe for that BBQ scenario.
Sure. If you heard Ken say he has work. Ken-sen wa aobeto ga aru to ite imashita. Ken-sen said he has a part-time job. You heard him say it.
Right, implies direct hearing. What about an informal version?
Maybe a friend asks if Mary's coming to the party. Mary-san mo kuru atite tayo. Mary-san said she's coming too. Very natural.
Okay. Kuru te iteto.
You could also use it for something you heard on the news or from someone reliable. Kaishu wa hareru to ite imashita. They said next week will be sunny, implying you heard the forecast directly.
Okay.
Or reporting someone's opinion about a past event. Shirar. Bati wa tanoshikatta to ite akimashita. She said the party was fun. Uses the past informal adjective tanoshikatta.
So it works with past tense inside the quote, too. Very versatile for retelling things.
Extremely useful for daily conversation.
All right. Next up, asking someone not to do something politely. Negative requests.
Yes, the neidi kudasai structure. Essential for polite refusal or setting boundaries gently.
How do we build this one?
It's straightforward. You take the informal negative form of the verb, that ne form we practiced earlier,
Okay, the ne form.
and simply add share de kudasai to it.
Nai di kudasai. So it connects directly.
Think of it like the negative version of the T form request. Te kudasai means please do,
Right.
and ne de kudasai means please don't do. It's the direct counterpart.
Okay. Example. If someone's rushing,
You could say gently, Fuda isoganai de kudasai. Please don't hurry. From the verb isogu, to hurry, negative isoganai.
isoganai plus de kudasai. Okay. Now, how does this compare to other ways of saying don't? Like, is it strong? Weak?
It's definitely on the polite, gentle side. It's important to contrast it with the much stronger, more formal prohibition form.
Te wa ikamazen. That sounds serious.
It usually is. It means you must not, it is forbidden, it's not allowed. Think rules, regulations, strong commands, like a sign saying, Kokodoido wa ikmasen, swimming here is forbidden.
Okay, so that's a definite.
Right, whereas F-less he is a request. If you said, wayugenaide kudasai, it's please don't swim here. Much softer, more like a polite suggestion or request between people.
That distinction is crucial for not sounding accidentally harsh.
Absolutely. Using to wa ikmazen when naide kudasai is appropriate could sound quite stern or authoritarian, and vice versa. Using naide kudasai for something strictly forbidden might be too weak. Choosing correctly is key for social appropriateness.
Okay, so neide kudasai is our go-to for polite. Please don't. Let's hear some more common examples.
All right. At that barbecue again, maybe someone offers you a drink before the food is ready. Mate no manede kudasai. Please don't drink yet.
Okay, gentle timing suggestion.
Or in a museum. Jashin o toranai de kudasai. Please don't take pictures.
Standard polite request.
At a quiet place. And what denwa kekenai de kudasai. Please don't make a call.
Makes sense.
A teacher might say, Shukubai wa wazurinde kudasai. Please don't forget your homework. A polite reminder.
Wasurenai from Wajuru.
Okay, and maybe if you showed someone your phone but want to keep some photos private, shashi no minaide kudasai, please don't look at the pictures.
Always a request, not a command. Got it.
And there's a very useful set phrase using this.
Oh, yeah.
Ki ni shinaide kudasai.
Kini shinaide kudasai. What's that mean?
It means don't worry about it, don't mind, please don't concern yourself. It's what you say when someone apologizes for something minor or expresses concern you feel is unnecessary.
Like if someone bumps into you and says sorry.
Exactly. You'd likely reply, "Reenum," to show it's no big deal and put them at ease. Very common politeness expression.
That's a great one to know. Okay, moving on to something that sounds a bit more abstract. Nominalization.
Right. Turning sentences into nouns using no or koto sounds tricky, but it's incredibly powerful for expressing more complex ideas.
So what's the point? Why turn a sentence into a noun?
It allows you to talk about an action or a state as if it were a thing. You take an informal clause, stick no or koto on the end, and boom, that whole clause now functions as a noun.
So you can then make it the subject or object of another sentence.
Exactly. You can say things like, doing X is fun, or I like doing Y, or my hobby is doing Z. It lets you treat actions and facts as topics of discussion.
Okay. You mentioned no and koto. Is there a difference? When do you use which?
Yes, there's a subtle but important difference in nuance. They're not always interchangeable.
Right.
Generally, no is a bit more informal and tends to focus on the direct action or event itself, often something concrete or perceivable. Think of it like emphasizing the act you can see or experience directly.
Okay, no for the concrete action. What about koto?
Fato is generally a bit more formal and focuses more on the abstract fact, idea, or general concept of the action or event. It's often used for talking about experiences, abilities, general truths, or hobbies as concepts.
Abstract fact or idea. Can you give an example comparing them?
Sure. Let's take singing. If you say, Keiga oto no kita, it means, I heard him singing. You heard the specific concrete act.
Okay. Heard the action via no.
But if you say, Uto koto ga sukida, it means, I like the act of singing. I like singing in general. It's more about the abstract hobby or concept.
Ah, I see. One is hearing the performance, the other is liking the activity itself.
Exactly. Sometimes, like with suki, like, or kire, dislike, they can be somewhat interchangeable, but koto might sound slightly more formal or emphasize the general activity more.
Are there times when only one works?
Yes. For expressing past experience using net, ta koto ga aru, have the experience of having done, you must use koko. Like, Nihon ni ita koto ga arimasu. I have been to Japan? You can't use no there.
Okay, so koto for experience is fixed.
Right. And koto is often preferred for stating general facts or defining things. No is very common when talking about things you perceive directly or when the action is the direct object of liking, disliking skill.
Okay, that helps clarify. No more direct perceived action.
Kodo, more abstract fact experience.
That's a good way to think about it.
Now, Genki often pairs nominalization with expressing likes, dislikes, or skills, right?
Yes, it's a very common and practical way to introduce it. Makes it immediately useful for talking about yourself.
Let's see some examples. How about, I like taking baths?
You take the informal clause, take a bath, which is harfuro ni haru. Nominalize it with no. Ofuro ni haru no. Then add gasuki desu. So, harfuro ni haru no gasuki desu.
Okay, the whole taking a bath action becomes the thing that is liked.
Precisely. Or I love shopping at supermarkets. Informal clause. Supa de ka monosuru nominalized. Supa de ka monosuru no result.
Supa de kai monosuru no ga suki desu.
Makes sense. What about skills? I'm bad at cooking. Cooking is aryorisuru. Nominalize it. Aryorisuru no ga heta desu. Ad ga heta desu is bad at. Aryorisuru no ga heta desu.
Okay, and good at eating with chopsticks.
Eating with chopsticks. Hashi de tabaru. Nominalized her. Hashi de tabaru no. Ad ga juzu desu is good at. Hashi de tabaru no ga juzu desu.
And dislike.
I dislike studying math. Studying math. Sugaku o benkyū suru. Nominalized. Sugaku o benkyū suru no ga kiru no. Ad ga kirai desu. Dislike. Sugaku o benkyū suru no ga kirai desu.
You can really turn any activity into the subject of your preference or skill level.
Exactly. It's incredibly versatile.
So if I wanted to say, I like playing drums, drums are doramu, to play is tataku. Right, so the clause is doramu o tataku. Nominalize it.
It's doramu o tataku no.
And ad ga suki desu.
Mande adopa desu sho. No chai menki saro sinatsu dolo. Nanata suju dorun to bon. No ga suki desu. Doran boa fanki suche alokataku. Doramu tataku no.
Do works.
See?
You got it. It opens up a huge range of expression about your interests and abilities.
Okay, nominalization. Powerful stuff. Now let's tackle particles again. Specifically, the subject particle, ja. This one causes confusion, right? Especially versus wa.
It definitely can. They both sometimes mark the subject, but they have different functions and nuances. Ga is vital for emphasis and asking specific questions.
So wa is more the topic marker, like as for X.
Generally, yes. Wa sets the general theme or topic of the sentence, which might be the subject, but not always. Ga, on the other hand, always marks the grammatical subject and often does so with specific emphasis, or because it's introducing new, important information about that subject.
Pinpointing the subject, maybe.
That's a good way to think of it. Ga often answers the implicit question who or what regarding the subject.
So what are the key uses of ga we need to focus on here?
Two main ones are crucial at this stage. First, using ga for emphasis.
Highlighting the subject.
Exactly. When you use ga instead of wa to mark the subject, you're specifically emphasizing that subject as the one doing the action or having the quality, often contrasting it with other possibilities or answering a direct question about who what.
Like if someone asks, who is going?
Precisely. The answer would naturally use ga. Yuki-san ga iku. Yuki is the one going. It pinpoints Yuki from potential others.
Okay, clarifies who.
Or who's good at cooking. Robert is the one who is good at cooking, emphasizes Robert's skill specifically.
Right.
Or maybe distinguishing preferences. Mary-san ga inu ga suki desu. Mary is the one who likes dogs. Maybe others like cats. Ga isolates and emphasizes the subject.
So ga for emphasis, clarifying which one. What's the second key use?
This one's a hard rule. Using ga with question words when the question word itself is the subject of the sentence.
Question words like who, what, where, when they are the subject.
Yes. If the who or what is performing the action or being described, you must use ga after it, never wa.
Okay, give me an example.
Who is coming? The subject is who. So it must be yoruwai jimasu ka?
Never derewa kimasu ka?
Never. That's incorrect. Or, what do you like? If what is the subject of like in Japanese structure, it's nani ga suki desu ka?
Nani ga suki. Okay.
And if you make it more specific, what kind of music do you like? Nani gaku ga suki desu ka? Notice nani becomes nan before no, but ga still marks the subject phrase nan no ungaku.
Okay, so rule is question word as subject must take ga.
That's the rule, non-negotiable.
That really helps clarify ga. Focus on emphasis and the question word rule.
Exactly. Master those two uses and you'll have a much better handle on ga. It adds precision and clarity that wa alone doesn't always provide. It's like turning up the spotlight on the subject.
Great. Okay, last topic for today. Those little words for something and nothing. Super comic, right?
Absolutely essential for everyday chat. Nanika and nanimo nai.
Let's start with something. That's nanika.
Yes. Nanika means something. And importantly, when used in a question, it usually translates as anything.
Okay, so nanika is something anything. How is it used?
Very often in offers or inquiries,
Right.
like offering food. Nanika tabemashu ka? Shall we eat something?
Common offer. Or offering a drink.
Nanika namimasu ka? Will you drink something, anything? Or asking if someone heard a noise. Nanika kikimashita ka? Did you hear something, anything?
Straightforward enough. So nanika for the positive or questioning side. What about nothing?
For nothing or not anything, you use nanimo. But here's the key. Nanimo always requires a negative verb or adjective to follow it.
Always with a negative. It can't stand alone.
Nope. Nanimo plus a negative predicate together create the meaning nothing or not anything. It intensifies the negation. Okay, example from the barbecue scenario.
Someone might say, Nani wa iranai to omimasu. I don't think I need anything. Or, I don't think anything is needed. Nanimo reinforces the negative iranai, don't need.
Okay, nanimo plus negative verb.
Another one. Nanimo kawarimasen. Nothing will change. Kawarimasen is negative.
Got it.
Or referring to plans. Tsugi no shumatsu wa nani mo yote ga arimasen. I don't have any plans next weekend. Arimasen is negative.
Works with arimasen.
And with negative adjectives.
Eh.
Nani mo hoshikunai desu. I don't want anything. Hoshikunai is the negative of hoshi want.
So nanimo always needs that negative partner.
Always. That's the structure.
And didn't you mention a casual contraction for nanika?
Oh yeah, good point. In very casual speech, nanika often gets squished down to nanmyo.
Yeah, and nanka can also act as a filler word, kind of like or kinda or, in English. So you'll hear it a lot in really informal, natural conversation.
Like nanka hendane. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
Exactly like that. Adds to that authentic, unscripted feel.
Wow, okay. We've covered a huge amount of ground today.
We really have, from the basic short forms to expressing thoughts, making requests, nominalizing. It's the core of casual Japanese.
Let's recap quickly. We had informal short forms for all word types, positive and negative.
Yep. Then expressing I think with to omoimasu and reporting someone said with to ite imashita.
Plus the polite negative request, anaide kudasai.
And the magic of turning sentences into nouns with no and koto.
And finally, the power of ga for emphasis and questions, and nanika nanamo for something nothing.
That's the gist of it. And remembering these isn't just about passing a test. It's truly transformative for actually communicating.
Right. It's about getting beyond those stiff, formal phrases.
Exactly. It's about unlocking that natural, genuine conversation style, gaining the confidence to jump into everyday chats, understand the banter between friends, invite someone out casually.
It lets you sound more like, more like you.
Perfectly put, and connecting more genuinely with people.
Think about how you speak your own native language. You shift constantly, right? Depending on who you're with.
Effortlessly, usually without even thinking about it.
Imagine getting to that point in Japanese, using these forms naturally. What kind of conversations could you have then? What connections could you make?
Think about the subtlety, too, like politely giving someone an out with a negative invitation, or adding just the right emphasis with ga. These aren't just grammar points, they're social tools.
Deeply embedded cultural cues.
Exactly. They help you not just speak Japanese, but understand Japanese culture and thinking on a deeper level.
So the call to action for you, listening, has to be, try using these.
Absolutely. Don't just memorize them, apply them. Take a sentence you know in polite form, try making it informal.
Or just mentally practice throughout the day. Think, I think it might rain. using to omimasu. Or, my friend said, using te teta.
Every little bit of active use helps solidify it. Don't be afraid to experiment, even if you make mistakes.
People will appreciate the effort, right? That foreigner pass.
Mostly, yes. Every attempt gets you closer to fluency and confidence. Remember, language learning isn't about reaching some perfect destination. It's a journey.
And exploring informal Japanese is a huge step on that journey towards real connection.
It truly is. You're not just learning words. You're gaining the ability to express yourself more authentically and understand others more deeply. Keep exploring. Keep asking questions.
And enjoy the adventure.